You take a right and you head right into Clarksfield. So right in Clarksfield, this is our area of greatest concern currently in eastern Huron County. And then this will continue to move up toward the Kipton area as we go through about the next 15 to 20 minutes or so. As I mentioned, this has been holding its rotation very well. I think the warning should have been issued a while ago, but we've been keeping an eye on it. We'll talk semantics later, but I think the important thing right now is that we have a pretty good indication here that we have something that is happening, namely rotation. It's lower in the atmosphere now than it was even at 7 o'clock. Jessica was mentioning this when they issued the initial severe thunderstorm warning at about 7:15. Jessica hopped on and told us about that, said, hey, there's some rotation that we're keeping an eye on. It was about 2,800 feet above surface. Now we're probably down around 2,000 feet, and you can see we still have that circulation, and as mentioned, it will continue to move up to the northeast. So let me get a track on this. We'll kind of give it a little bit of a head start here. Within the next 15 minutes, it's likely to be in the Oberlin area. So 7:58 into Kipton, Pittsfield 8:02, 8:05 into Oberlin. If this holds together, as mentioned, it has been holding together over the past 10 or 15 minutes or so. Let me back this out just a little bit, and we'll kind of review this here, and you can watch literally as this rotation, you see that rotation, see how it kind of has been holding together with that red and the green holding together right there. So we've been watching this as it's on a pretty steady trajectory to the northeast, which would take it up in the general direction of Oberlin, which is probably the bigger city on the map right now, at least in the path that this storm is anticipated to take. We have also noted several times out of this that this has a pretty pronounced hook echo. That's a sign if you watch, Twister and you watch storm tracking and whatnot. A hook echo is basically the thunderstorm wrapping around the circulation. So you get a downdraft that comes on the backside of that circulation, and it starts to pop rain and all that stuff up. And we'll have the circulation, which is right in here. And then you can kind of just watch how this is all turning around. It's pretty fascinating when you really start to look at it. And then you realize you probably have some problems that are associated with this when you're talking about a tornado warning. Want to hit on the hail possibility too, because we do have the possibility of some hail with this. This is a hail track. And as you can see, we get into the purples and even the blues here. That's 1-inch hail. And that hail track is going right on the north side of that circulation. So this is basically a little mini supercell that we have going on. We're not anticipating a big tornado out of this, but these are very squirrely situations that we could get into. So we have some hail that is also going to be accompanying that circulation as it continues to move up to the northeast. And again, that will be moving through areas of probably Kipton and Oberlin here in the next 15 minutes or so. It is just to the south of Wakeman, just to the south of US 20. And it looks like it's just east of where the jog on 18, the jog on Route 18. So just if you're out in that area, you know what I'm talking about with that jog on 18. Let me get a little closer in again, and we're just going to kind of continue to keep an eye on this. Jessica is over in the Weather Center. She's keeping an eye on the bigger picture for me, too, because these have been very squirrely little storms. They popped up western Ohio, northern Indiana, southern Michigan. There's been tornado warnings over there periodically because of these little cells that have been showing some signs of some spin. So here's Clarksfield, here's Wakeman. State Route 60 runs right through here. There's our circulation. So now it's generally shifted just to the north. So we're between Wakeman and Clarksfield. And this is going to head right up into the Kipton area, which is 303 and 20, the crossroads of 303 and 20. And then you move into the Oberlin area after that. Pittsfield, if this stays on its current trajectory, I think this will stay just to the north of you. So friends in Wakeman, northeast corner of Huron County, right along US 20. Please get in your safety spots. Same for the State Route 60 folks down into the Clarksfield area. Likewise, over into Lorain County, if you are in the Kipton area, US 20, Route 303, please get into your safety spots because that circulation is going to be coming up right up over you. And Oberlin, I would be getting everybody together. and keeping an eye on things. Don't forget, we do have the 3 News app, so if you want to head to the basement and you want to step away from the TV, we're streaming live on the app, and you would also be able to find us there. We also live stream onto our website, so you can use your phone, take it with you down into the basement or your safety spot, wherever that may be, and then you can get a pretty good idea of what we're talking about, because we're going to stay with you. We're not going to let this go. We have a pretty significant circulation that has been holding together. It's still with us, and it's just going to continue to move right there. So Route 303 comes in here. We got 20 in here, and it's just going to hold. 303 is east to west, so right there's 303, there's 20, and this is just going to continue to move right up to the northeast. New London, you are out of it. North Fairfield, Fitchville, you are out of it. Norwalk, you are out of it. And I would have to say Erie County at this point completely out of it. That does include Berlin Heights, but we do have Wakeman, Clarksfield, and then as you get over into western sections of Lorain County, of course, dealing with that too. Let me go ahead, Jessica.
Yeah, so we got the chat up here and the National Weather Service chat here. Huron County EMA, they have had reports of tornadoes touching down. Yep. Latest report came from a motorist who has seen it on State Route 61 just north of Clarksfield, so right around the area that you were talking about with that rotation on obviously part of that warning. So they mentioned the third tornado touchdown report is the wording in there. I've not seen other reports that they've been putting. They had spotters situated between Wakeman and Clarksfield. I don't think they ever said that they had a report from those spotters, but that's been the general area that they have had people making reports and looking at some of that information as it's coming in.
Yeah, the emergency management office out there has been keeping a close eye on this. They've been on the chat with us, and you know, we've kind of been trying to get different reports as to what's going on, because we really felt that that warning should have been issued earlier. That's bygone, but you can see the updated tornado warning does continue into central portions of Lorain County right now. The rest of northern Ohio, including downtown Cleveland, where the Guardians are playing, completely fine right now, even rain-free in many spots. It is Lorain County, Erie County, and Huron County where we have the biggest problems, and specifically northeastern portions of Huron County into the west central area of Lorain County. That is where this current tornado warning is. We just heard from Jessica that on the chat there have been reports of a tornado that has been skipping along here, and that lines up perfectly with where we currently see the circulation on radar right now. So this warning will go probably, typically they run about 45 minutes or so. We always like to say they go until further notice, but this is the area of greatest concern, Wakeman to Clarksfield. That's that State Route 60 area. And then you head over on 20 and 303 and 18 over into the Oberlin area here with Kipton, and then Pittsfield is out this way. Wellington, this will stay north of you. So if you're in Wellington, you are severe clear right now. But it's areas here where this Wakeman-Clarksfield area specifically has been kind of where we're seeing that circulation, which is now continuing to move. We're tracking ahead here. So let me get a new track for everybody, and we'll get you in here into western sections of Lorain County. Now, one thing to keep in mind when we show you the radar like this, that's where it is right now. It's already happened. It's moving constantly. So we're likely already dealing with the circulation heading over the county line into the Kipton area. So Route 303, State Route 303 runs through here, and then 511 is the north-south route in this area, and then US 20 is also in here. So that's a pretty heavily traveled road. This is just about to cross over where 303 and 511 cross, and also 511 and Route 20, US 20. So definitely something to take note of if you're in this area. Wakeman, hang in those spots for me. Clarksfield, you too. If you're along State Route 60 in northeast portions of Huron County, hang in your safety spots. It's almost done. It's moving quickly at about 40 miles per hour or so, and will continue to move out to the northeast. This particular part of the circulation, if it all holds together, would be in Oberlin in less than 15 minutes. So we got that heads up for everybody. If you're in Oberlin, I would start to get everybody moving to the basement. Get the app fired up, the 3 News app. If we have the QR code, Frank, in the control room, we have the 3 News app. You can scan it with your phone. We'll get you that app, and you can get right onto it, and you can follow along live on your phone. It's pretty slick how it all works. And that way also, if the power goes out by chance, not saying the power will go out, but if it does go out, you also have that battery backup on your phone that you can keep watching. So the circulation to me looks like it's broadening out just a little bit. We had a much better defined circulation a while ago. We now have confirmation that there's been a tornado that skipped along this route farther to the southwest. So we have a broader rotation at this point as the storm continues to move up through Kipton and Oberlin within the next 10 to 15 minutes. So 10 minutes Kipton, 15 minutes Oberlin or so. And not even that. Boy, Kipton, it's showing a little bit faster than that. We're going to get another update here in just a moment. And this will likely be across the county line and into Lorain County. There's the QR code for the app if you want that. Just hold your phone up with the camera open and a little link box will pop up. You hit that and it'll take you to our page, and then you can figure out where to get the app, if it's in the App Store or if it's on your, whichever version, Android versus iOS, that you have, that it will help to guide you there. We also have, of course, a stream running at WKYC.com, which is also available. Our mobile app is available online, and you would be able to have that in the palm of your hand too. So just to reiterate, we do have the tornado warning that is in portions right now of extreme northeastern Huron County and west central Lorain County. For this area of circulation, there's our rotation right there. It's just about to cross over, if it hasn't already, into Lorain County, into the Kipton area right at 20 and 511, also at 303 and 511. So State Route 511 north-south, and then the others going to the east and west. And I'm going to get in real close here. And I hesitate to get in too close because I feel like it gives people a false sense of security if their street or their name isn't on the map. But there's a look at what I'm talking about. Here's 303, Pittsfield, you're over here, Kipton's right here. There's US 20, and that circulation is just about to go right over 511 and 20, and then 511 and 303. So this is a pretty small town, Kipton, and you can see there's the Shawn Acres campground here, Firelands Reservation. There's the reissue on the warning that is coming out right now, and that circulation, here it is. So we're going to give it some nice kind of a wide berth here. State Route 511, US 20, State Route 511 and 303. If that sounds familiar to you, if you drive this area a lot, if this is in your area near your home, you need to be in your safety spot. Meanwhile, can't help but see that Oberlin is next. So if you're in Oberlin, now's the time to get everybody together, get down to the basement, because this area of circulation is headed your way rather quickly. Starting to see some brighter colors popping up. So this has been cycling, which, this is a moving thing. It's constantly changing. It's constantly being influenced by the atmosphere around it. And so it's kind of lost its organization and then it comes back together. That can happen very quickly. So you want to make sure that you're prepared for that. And there's that circulation. So it's going to come up right into the Kipton area. This is that US 20, 511. I know I keep saying that, but remember we have people who come and go as we go through this. So I want to make sure that everybody is updated. And then there's Oberlin up here to the northeast. Now, if I zoom the picture out a little bit more, I can show you that we have had some circulations in some other parts of the storms as they've been moving through northern Ohio this evening, but nothing that was really showing a lot of gumption, if you will. We've got some decent lightning on this. This has been producing quite a bit of lightning. Matter of fact, when it was back here near the Willard area, all of a sudden we started to see the lightning popping, and sometimes that can be a sign that you're starting to get a good updraft going and things are starting to get organized. And then it maintained that lightning, and that lightning would be a sign that we also have some hail that is going on. You can see the hail swath right here. So this is the hail that's all associated with this single thunderstorm that's going to continue to move to the northeast. Probably anything from pea-size. We've had 1-inch hail reported back in Tiffin earlier this evening, so we know there's potential for the larger hail. But you can see all the different lightning strikes that we're still seeing, and hail and lightning go together. The lightning kind of tells you where the hail threat is going to be because of the turbulence and the charge that is built up with the hail in the atmosphere. Go ahead,
It
Jessica.
did hail up to 1 inch in diameter now. Previous warning was for about 3/4 of an inch.
Yeah.
Also a slight adjustment to that trajectory northeast at 30 miles per hour with that update to the warning.
Okay, can you check on my cone, my storm cone?
Yes.
On the tool, and just double check that I'm at 30 miles an hour. So that's this is the cone, and we have various settings. We can set the speed on it, so we're gonna try and make sure that that is all tidy and correct. So when we look at the overall picture here of what's going on with our situation, remember the radar is scanning the sky for anything that is gonna reflectivity back, or reflect energy back to the radar. That's called reflectivity. There's a lot that can be gleaned information-wise from just that little bit of energy that returns. Where it's going, you know, what direction it's going, how fast it's going, how big it is, what orientation it is falling, how it looks in comparison to everything else. You can see we have all green here, there's all red here. So you know we have a predominant northeast wind that's coming in. We have a southwest wind here, and then you get these little swirls that start to come in, and that's kind of a big deal. So the overall flow, let me correct myself, the overall flow is southwest to northeast. When you cross where the radar beam comes in even with everything, then it changes over. So this is still going away. So I know it gets kind of confusing, but I promise we're on it. So let's just stick to what we got here in now Lorain County. So Huron County, Wakeman, you are out of it now. That's good news for you. Clarksfield, you are out of it too. So Wakeman and Clarksfield, the threat is over. You can come out of your safety spots on the county line, on the Lorain-Huron County line, and east, stay in those safety spots right now, especially if you're in Kipton. And then eventually the Oberlin area, because this is going to continue to move in. I'm starting to see signs it is getting a little bit disorganized. That doesn't necessarily mean it's over by any stretch. It just starts to look like things are starting to get a little bit off balance. Before, when we had very defined red, we had very defined green. That is a sign that it's nice and circular and it's getting a pretty good flow going. And then we start to see these brighter colors, and those brighter colors are indicative of the higher wind speeds. So we know if we have a good pattern that sets up and we have bright colors, it's a pretty good indication that we have a positive circulation that's going on. We had that earlier. It's a lot broader now than it was, but we are still getting that circulation, and it is now coming into Kipton. So it is in Lorain County. We've crossed over into the Lorain County line. Going to continue to move to the northeast at about 30 miles per hour or so, as Jessica mentioned. So let me get this map oriented for you. Pull this back a little bit, and we're going to get our cone up. Now that we know it's at 30 miles per hour, we're going to take it from Kipton right up into Oberlin in about 10 minutes. And then continuing to move to the northeast. So Kipton at 8:07, Oberlin at 8:16. It's been pretty consistent with Oberlin at about quarter after the hour. So hopefully all of our friends in Oberlin are in the basement right now or into their safety spots. You know, if you're on campus at Oberlin and you're not quite sure where to go, don't forget, in your dormitories or in your apartment building, there are some spaces you can go. If there's a basement, especially like a lot of times a laundry room will be in the basement, that's a great place to go down, get together with your neighbors, have a conversation, keep an eye on the app, right? If you're in an apartment building and there may not be a common space that's underground, you want to get into the interior of the building as much as possible, so away from your windows. And you want to get into a closet or a bathroom, anything that doesn't have windows and puts a lot of walls between you and the outside. That's typically the best advice that we would be able to give everyone as far as that goes. But this is moving to the northeast at about 30 miles per hour or so, and it has been showing some signs that it is fluctuating in its intensity, but we know that there has been a hit skip, so it's kind of like skipped along on this path that's moved from Heartland right through Clarksfield up through the Wakeman area and is now moving into Kipton currently in western sections of Lorain County. Jessica, do you have any more updates? I haven't really seen anything else
so far. I have seen, nothing coming up. I asked about the other reports that they had out in Huron County because they mentioned it was the third. And so far we just have that one on State Route 61 north of Clarksfield, which is where we had that really good circulation coming in. Biggest thing to note also, aside from obviously that tornado warning storm, we do do still have one storm that has a severe thunderstorm warning on it. This is back west of our viewing area, south of Toledo. So they have a severe thunderstorm warning there. That's going to be going still for a little bit here until 8:15. So we're also kind of watching this behind that tornado warned storm, and we'll see if this can hold together and cause any further issues for us tonight. You can put the loop on here and really see that the general trend has been a big downward trend in intensity and coverage of those storms. So hopefully that downward trend will continue with this one, but just something to kind of keep an eye on as we go through the rest of the evening here. Again, that warning is going until 8:15, so we'll see what it's looking like in the next 7 minutes or so here and see if the National Weather Service in Cleveland decides to extend that off to the east. We're probably also going to see an update with our tornado warning. That's currently going until 8:30 p.m. So we'll see what they decide to do with all of those as we get into the next 20 minutes or so here, and all of those warnings are kind of expiring and having to be extended or adjusted as they get to the end of their time.
Okay. Sounds good. Well, we are, keeping an eye on things. I do want to tell everybody in Huron County right now, you are severe clear. So Huron County is severe clear. Let me get back out of this and we'll put on this reflectivity because there's a couple things to keep an eye on. Number one, we do have some lightning, some very heavy rain, some thunder that is going on in Erie County. So Erie County, Sandusky, Huron, which I know the tornado sirens were going off not too long ago. Thank you, Brian, for that text message. And then right around into the Vermilion area, you folks are getting some heavy rain right now. There's probably some lightning, some thunder, maybe even some small hail, but you are not in a severe thunderstorm as of right now. So Erie County is fine. Huron County is also now in the clear. The area of greatest concern is now solely into Lorain County. So I want to go ahead and update everybody on that. Lorain County, central Lorain County, west central Lorain County, right on US 20 and State Route 511. That is where it is. So there's our brand new updated warning. We were just ahead of that warning. That's some good news there. And so we're, kind of chopping away at the big area and really starting to focus in. Frank, if we could fix the banner too. I saw that we had Huron on there. Thank you. And so you can see here, we are kind of on the eastern edge of what is a big conglomeration of nasty weather. We still have the presence of a hook in our reflectivity. So again, this is the raindrops that are sending back the energy to the radar, and it's picking up the distance, how everything is moving, and how many of them. And we can see the very well-defined hook here. This hook has been solid for probably about the last, 30 minutes, 40 minutes now that we've noticed this hook. And that is kind of where it helps your eyeballs zoom in to where that greatest area of concern is. That's also a sign that we've got that shear that's taking place in the atmosphere. And we know if we kick it over to the velocity, this is literally looking at how things are moving, how quickly they're moving, what direction they're moving. And of course, by things, I do mean like raindrops and hail and that type of stuff. You can see that everything is kind of moving around right over Kipton and is headed for the Oberlin area. So Oberlin, this is coming to you very quickly. Safety spots, please. If you don't have our app, you can get that very quickly. This is going to be less than 10 minutes. This is the QR code for our app. If you hold your phone up with the camera, a little link box will pop up. This is just like what you do in a restaurant. Hit the link and it'll take you into our webpage, and there's directions there on how you can get our app. Once you have the app, you'll be able to find, I promise you'll find it quickly. We go into a whole nother mode when we go into severe weather mode, but our live stream is there. We also have our live stream available for you, WKYC.com, which you can get on a mobile website. So like you can search your mobile browser for WKYC.com and hit watch now, and you should be able to see us there too. So 8:15 or so, we've been kind of highlighting 8:15. I like 8:15. I still want you to think 8:15 for the Oberlin area, and that's about the time that it'll cross State Route 58. So we are now north of US 20. So anybody who's in Lorain County along State Route 33 or 303, you're severe clear. Pittsfield, you're out of it. You're severe clear. We're specifically into Kipton and headed up toward the Oberlin area. Eventually, we may have to look at Carlisle and Elyria and areas like that. But I think this should start to really fall apart. It's going to start to likely become influenced by some of those other thunderstorms to the west that start to interrupt its flow, so to speak. But you can still see a pretty significant hook echo here. One thing to notice, if you're looking here and you don't see these little POW lightning strikes, little icons here, there's not as many as there were before. This is a good sign, because lightning is a sign that you have a lot of lifting and a lot of agitation in the atmosphere. When you don't see that, it means things are, trying to settle down somewhat. So hopefully that is a good sign for us as this continues to move. And it's interesting, it's going right. So 511 comes west out of Oberlin and then takes a huge left turn and heads down into the Kipton area. It's literally right over the bend in 511 right now. So right over the turn on State Route 511 as it continues to move up to the northeast. And we've been watching, let me pick up the hail. Let's see if we've got any new hail reports. We've had anything, there's been a hail swath. It looks like the hail is cut off a little bit here, so that might be a good sign that things are starting to temper down a little bit too. We've also been keeping an eye on what's known as the correlation coefficient. It helps us to track potential debris. And this has been something that I've been keeping an eye on because we were tracking potential debris farther to the west. And you have a hook echo, you have a signature in the velocity data, and then all of a sudden you start to see potential debris and you're going, whoa. Well, Jessica brought up a great point. We were kind of talking through it. I thought maybe bugs, honestly, because they loft very easily. And so we could be seeing bugs up on the radar. She mentioned that it's been very dry, so maybe we had some dust or any kind of twigs. Now that we've had all this dry weather, the trees are starting to drop leaves. So a lot of that could be lofting. This could also be some debris. We just don't know exactly. We just know that there's some kind of a target that's out there that is floating around. My hunch would be bugs. My first hunch, just because of the time of the year and the time of night too. Right at nightfall, the bugs try to come out. But yeah, there is that possibility that we did get some debris in there. It's not a clear signature, and believe me, friends, this is not the big EF5 kind of scenario. But we did have multiple reports of a tornado touching down in Huron County, so it's confirmed that we have had a hit skip kind of a situation as this thing has been moving to the northeast. Starting to see the organization coming together just a little bit better here. We've got a clear sign of red. We've got the clear sign of green. They're touching, they're close together, and that is that circulation. Circulation can broaden out, it can tighten up. Sometimes it can do a quick spin and you get a spin up tornado. That happens with these situations, and it certainly can happen right now, but I'm not seeing anything that is necessarily indicating that we have a major tornado on the ground. What I am seeing is that we have all the pieces coming together where we could have a tornado touching down. And I'm going to tell you something. If it's damage, it's damage. It doesn't matter, especially if it's damage on your property, it doesn't matter how big or how small. It's still pretty traumatizing, and it's a pretty big deal. So Oberlin, I need you all to get into your safe spots because this is holding together and it is coming your direction. We still have the active tornado warning for now for western Lorain County. And it is definitely still showing signs of that circulation. We're going to kick it over to what's known as the reflectivity data. This is actually looking a little bit better. We still have a pretty clear hook right here. This is just coming out of the Kipton area, so just northeast of Kipton. If you're in Kipton, stay in your safe spots. You're fine, I promise. If you're hearing my voice, you're good to go, okay? Just stay there. Don't move. Keep everybody calm because it looks like this is going to start to move out pretty quickly for you. So that is some great news. Everybody else in Northeast Ohio, besides Lorain County, severe clear at this point. So that is some good news. It is currently 8:16. We've been keeping an eye on this particular cell for an hour now, and we've been watching it since it was way back here in the Willard area. It really fired up, and then we saw it kind of cruise to the northeast on a pretty solid and steady trajectory. There were occasional tornado touchdowns, according to the Emergency Management Office in Huron County, of where we had this storm producing a tornado and touching down as it kind of continued to move through the area. We're still getting some lightning up here in eastern sections of Erie County, even though Erie County is not in a severe storm warning or tornado warning, not at all. So Huron through Vermilion, you are severe clear at this point. The city of Lorain, the city of Erie is still severe clear at this point, but this little cell continues to move to the northeast, and that has been our big cause for concern here over the last 15 minutes or so. Lightning strikes in the last 15 minutes. The count is now 24. We've seen this fluctuating. The overall good picture here is that we are cooling. So nighttime cooling has a dramatic effect on the atmosphere. Almost instantaneously as the sun sets, the atmosphere begins to calm down. And the farther you get from sunset, the later it gets into the evening, the calmer things will continue to get. And we are starting to see overall that a lot of these thunderstorms just don't quite have that punch that they had even 20 minutes ago. So this is some good news, I think, that we are starting to see some signs where it's beginning to become more disorganized. South. Go ahead, Jessica.
We also lost that severe thunderstorm warning to the west.
Yes, we did.
With
that
those
was
cells
back here,
closer
right?
to Toledo. Yep. So that is trending downward. They let the warning expire on that. They're not reissuing as it heads towards our area. So that's good. That what would be behind that tornado warning we have right now is winding down. So that is really good news. As Betsy mentioned, we're losing a lot of that daytime heating, whatever daytime heating we had. It's a relative term right now. But as we get past sunset, we kind of lose some of the steam that was fueling some of those storms. So you really see with that loop, it's just losing a lot of steam. So this might still be impacting some areas off to the west later, but it's lost a lot of its intensity, which is good. Another thing to note real quick, the Guardians are playing downtown. They are still looking good. They're in the bottom of the 6th and ahead, and it is still dry in downtown Cleveland. So no severe weather for them. The game is still going on as planned for the time being. There's a live look out towards Progressive Field. It's dark, the lights are on, but they're doing great. They're ahead 4-1. I think that just said bottom of the 6th, I think we're in right now. So they are going to eventually have this rain potentially heading our way, but they're getting in at least most of a baseball game at this point. I've been texting with them over there to kind of keep them informed of what's going on. So that is one thing to note. We mentioned some of the storms that we had earlier. We did have a couple of reports previously. We had a tornado warning out towards areas of Ottawa County, kind of just northwest of Cedar Point and Sandusky. So we did have a report of at least a funnel cloud out there in Ottawa County earlier this afternoon. So this was kind of before we were even really getting on air with this. So we did have that one report of a funnel cloud out towards the Rocky Ridge area. And as Betsy was mentioning earlier, we had several other tornado warnings around the area across southern Michigan and into northern Indiana as well. At least 3 reports of tornadoes out across areas of northeastern Indiana. So a lot of the severe weather today has been kind of off to our west. We did have some severe thunderstorm watches off to our southwest. A lot of damage reports from winds for the folks down there across southwestern Ohio and into Kentucky. Looks like those watches have been allowed to expire. Again, we're kind of getting to that time of day where we're losing a lot of the kind of oomph that we gained with our afternoon heating. So we can kind of put that loop on here, and you see a lot of those storms that were looking really impressive just a few hours ago are losing their intensity very quickly. So hopefully that's going to continue to be the case for us as well. So far, no updates as far as any additional touchdowns in Huron County. Again, that emergency manager out there had said a 3rd tornado report, but only 1 report of a motorist seeing that on State Route 61 north of Clarksfield. And again, that was about a half an hour ago. So obviously this is now moved into Lorain County, and we will continue to keep a close eye on this. Obviously, again, dry right now for the Guardians game. They are, yes, bottom of the 6th, 2 people on. So we'll see if they can get the full game in here. That rain is getting close, moving into western Cuyahoga County, kind of the leading edge of this area of showers and storms that we've been watching with that tornado warning involved.
All right. Well, thanks, Jessica. That's a great overview there. And certainly the Guardians, of course, we're the media partners for the Guardians, so we handle a lot of the weather advice and whatnot for them. And it's an all-day discussion when all of that happens. All right. So we reset for everybody. We're up to 36 lightning strikes in the last 15 minutes within the view of this map. Areas south, areas east, no rain whatsoever. It is solely into Erie, Huron, and Lorain counties, and maybe just the tippy northern part of Richland and Ashland counties where we have some rain that is coming down right now. If you're in the west end of Cuyahoga County, Westlake, down through Berea, into portions of North Olmsted, just to be advised, you do have some storms that are coming your way. And as soon as this is cleared, I promise we will get you out of here because I know it is the AGT finale County. And so we do want to get out of here as quickly as possible. Just want to get one more check because we do have this that's coming into the Oberlin area at this point. It is starting to fall apart. At least to me, it looks like we have this that is starting to fall apart a little bit. You can see the lightning that's back here into eastern portions of Erie County, so we likely have a little bit of hail there. But the rotation part of this particular thunderstorm that we've been tracking is right now moving into the Oberlin area. And if we put on the velocity data here and kind of try to track this for you, you can see that this is kind of broadening out a little bit, which is some good news. It's shifted north a bit, and it's going to continue to move into the area right around the Lorain County Regional Airport, I believe, where we probably are just to the southwest of the Elyria. Yeah, Elyria is up there. And so this is going to cross over Route 58 just north of Oberlin. If you're down along US 20, I think you are severe clear right now. Kipton, you are severe clear. It's out of your area, but that area of broad rotation continues to move just north of Oberlin now, and it is headed right over the State Route 58 area. I think we're going to stay south of South Amherst. So if you're on the south side of South Amherst, you may end up deciding to go to the basement. I think it would be a fine idea to do that, because better to be safe than sorry at this point as this continues to move in. The city of Elyria sits up here, and Lorain would be north of that. At this point, it looks like this is becoming more diffuse, which is phenomenal news, and hopefully we can discontinue this warning very quickly and get out of here. But as you can see, we do have that circulation that's going to continue to move up to the northeast at this point. And it has a history of producing a tornado. We have multiple reports of a tornado touchdown back into Huron County, and that is simply because of the movement of the storm, not necessarily an indication of the current severity of this situation. So there's our circulation, and it does continue to move right over State Route 58. It is generally moving up toward the Elyria area. I have not seen the National Weather Service even hint at updating with a severe thunderstorm warning on this beyond the tornado warning.
The emergency manager for Huron County did get back to me with the other reports. He mentioned that he mentioned there was a third report, but we only had one location. The other two were also in the same vicinity, Clarksville. So it was all right around that Clarksville area.
Same place.
Same area.
So multiple reports in one place. And that's where this same circulation was back there, and it looked way more significant. So this is a little bit of comfort here. So we are at 8:25 right now. What time does our tornado warning?
8:30.
8:30. It does look like it's falling apart, but I'm hesitant to hop off because it's just, we're almost to the end of it. And I know everybody's yelling at me right now, and I apologize for doing the tornado thing, but I've been there, and it's not a great feeling when you have a tornado warning and it's headed right for your house. So we're gonna stick with you on this. But the good news is I think things are falling apart at this point, and overall I think the entire situation is one that is beginning to trend downward, and we're starting to see things really settling down a bit. Still a lot of very heavy rain falling along and just south of 90 and the Turnpike at this point, so very heavy torrential rain, and likely a little bit of hail up around the Vermilion area. You folks are getting some good rumblers right now with a lot of lightning in that area. The overall hook, you could see we still have a little bit of a notch, but I think the hook has dissipated a lot, which is some great news. I'll put this into motion for you here real quick. And you can kind of see how that hook right back there, oh, that thing was perfection, like textbook. And look how it's just kind of falling apart at this point. So this is some good news. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to check velocity one more time because I really think that this thing is done. And that way I can get everybody back to their programming. Unfortunately, it's probably just in time for a commercial, but let me just check it one more time. I think we're going to hop off. All right, so here's what we'll do. We're going to keep an eye on this. We're not technically out of the warning yet, but I think the overall threat is over, and I want to try and get you back to some programming. If we have to, we're going to cut back in if there's an update, but for now, let's get you back to HET.